Good afternoon, my friends. My name is Hemant Patel. I am going to talk about where is India on the world stage today. Let me start with one blog that I read and then I commented a few months ago. It was from one Indian origin lady, and she happened to be in some Western country. Her blog was about that she is planning to go back to India forever, and she gave a lot of good reasoning why she is planning to go back to India. She did some comparison that whatever we see some bad stuff in India, which is actually in fact a lot of things you can see in some other countries as well. So that was her reasoning. But at the end, or at least for the last two paragraphs, she completely changed her tone. In fact, that was probably her main theme of that blog. So she heard about some incident happened in India during that time frame, and suddenly because of that incident, she changed her tone and started to write that now, in fact, I wanted to go back to India forever, but now I am not even sending my daughter in India during her entire lifetime. And that was just because of some incident happened in India. I read that article, that blog, and made my comment, very simple, 2-3 liners, that I can understand your sentiment, I can understand your frustration about this incident, and looks like you spent few days, because the article was so nicely written, few pages and very good article. So I say you spent a lot of time in writing this article, but I have one request: spend 30 more seconds, only 30 more seconds, and do a Google search on the same topic that we are complaining about. But do across the whole world, and I am sure as soon as you do that Google search, and if you are really concerned about this incident, I am sure within few hours you will fly back to India. So what I found, that lady really loved India based on her article. She really liked, she really respect India. But suddenly because of this article, she changed her mind. So what I found, it was completely an ignorance. Just because of her ignorance, she made that decision. And I'm sure there are a lot of people in our friend circle, in our colleagues, and non-stop they will keep arguing about India, always negativism, criticism about India. And they just focus on the one side of India. They don't look at the other side of India. And that is the main message I am trying to convey, that there are always two sides for everything, including me, all countries, the whole world. There are always two sides, so we cannot just focus on one side or one incident or one thing, and we cannot judge the whole world or country based on that. And that's why I did some lot of research and came up with all these analytical numbers and came up with the ranking system. So what I did, we cannot compare any country with one criteria or one characteristic. Right? We have to consider so many factors. If I want to compare me and Ajay, we cannot just compare just because of because of one thing, that Ajay is taller than me, so he is better than me.
And good looking also.
And yeah, he is good looking. But in order to make a real judgment, we have to focus a lot of other factors like Ajay, how much he is making, and a lot of other things, right? So same thing when you compare one country with other country, we have to compare multiple criteria, multiple reasons, not only based on one incident or one criteria. And that is what I am trying to do today, and came up with that ranking system that I will share. So let us start with India's strength. If you know, from GDP perspective, India ranks number 7 in the world, US number 1, China number 2. So number 7 out of 230 countries, I am sure it is very significant, right? How many of us can stay in number 7 crowd anywhere we work, even in our department or even in our society, right? Staying in number 7 persistently, it is something very significant, and that is what India has been. So on GDP perspective, I will throw a lot of numbers now, and you don't have to remember all the number at the end. I will summarize everything, and that's the only thing matters. So from the GDP perspective, India is number 7, US number 1, China number 2. Now GDP, what is GDP? Gross Domestic Product. I am not the economist, but I like to make things very simple, and in my definition, it is nothing but an yearly income for the country, right? Just like we have our own yearly income. So GDP is nothing but the yearly income for the country. So India is number 7 on the yearly income. The average growth rate is 7%. So which is again is like your increment, your raise per year. So India's average growth rate is 7%, which is again very significant. How many of us are getting 7% raise every year, persistently for many years, for a few years? Only Ajay, right? So in India, the average growth rate is 7%, which is very significant. US is 2.4%, at least for past few years. So that is the ranking. Now, in the real dollar amount, India's GDP is $2.3 trillion. So it means every year India is making $2.3 trillion. So it's like salary for India, 2.3. US is $18 trillion. China is $11 trillion. Purchasing power parity, India is number 3 in ranking system. US is number 2. China is number 1. So that was yearly income, GDP. Now the total wealth. So on the ranking system again, India is number 7 on the total wealth. It means India is 7th wealthiest country in the world, right? So India's total wealth is number 7. It means India is 7th wealthiest country in the world. US is number 1. China is number 3. Now that was ranking in terms of dollar amount. India's wealth is $8 trillion. So in other words, it's like the price tag for India. If someone comes from another planet and say, I want to buy India, so that is the amount they have to pay, $8 trillion. And the US is $83 trillion. So US price tag $83 trillion. This is again the physical asset. It doesn't consider the intellectual the asset. That is another thing which is I am not comparing, but it is not considered in anywhere in my evaluations at least. So India, the worth of $8 trillion, US 83, China is 21. Now that was total wealth. What about the net wealth, right? Because net wealth is probably more important than the total wealth. I can have a lot of wealth, but at the same time, if I have a lot of debt, then what is the use of my total wealth, right? We have to consider the debt also. So in that regard, India is number 12, and again, so total wealth is again, net wealth is the total wealth minus the debt. So in that case, India is number 12, US is number 1, China is number 3. Debt in the dollar amount, India has $0.5 trillion public debt. The US has $18 trillion. I think most people know that. Around $18 trillion, right? And China has $3 trillion debt. I know there is a lot of criticism going on about US $18 trillion debt, but personally, I don't think it's a big deal, because if you see the US total wealth is $83 trillion, right? And out of $83 trillion, US has $18 trillion debt. So in other words, if you have a house worth of $83,000. And on that house, you have $18,000 mortgage or loan amount. So I don't think it's horrible, right? You have $83,000 house, and your loan amount $18,000. So you still have a lot of principal there. So that is the case in U.S. Debt situation. That they have U.S. has $18 trillion debt, but at the same time the total wealth is 83. So it's not that horrible. It is a big number, but compared to the total wealth, is not that bad. Debt as percentage of wealth, India ranks number 5, US number 14, China number 19. So that was all the financial aspect. Now, in any comparison, only financial aspect is not good enough. They have to have some muscle power too, right? Without muscle power, your wealth doesn't mean. You have a lot of wealth, but if you don't have muscle, people can steal very easily. So, from the military perspective, India is the 4th strongest country in this world. I have most of you guys know that, right? No? I'm surprised. So, India is again the 4th strongest country in the world. Huh? Strongest. US is number 1. I'm coming to that one. US is number 1. And China is number 3, Russia is number 2. So from the muscle power, India is number 4, so 4th strongest country in the world, US, the strongest country in the world, China is number 3, Russia is number 2. Now your point, the military size, from the military size perspective, India is, by the way, number 3. The total power 4, but the size wise it's number 3. So size is better than it can happen, right? I can have too many soldiers, but if I don't have equipment, so the power can be less. So that's possible. So from the size perspective, India is the 3rd largest. So India has the 3rd largest army in the world. US has number 1, China has number 2. You want me to repeat? So India has the 3rd largest army in the world. Nuclear weapons is again the big thing, right? There are only 8 countries in this world having nuclear weapons. Only 8 countries out of 230 countries having nuclear weapons. And India is one of them. So I'm sure these are really something significant military thing that need to be considered when we do any kind of comparison or if people are criticizing any country or anything. Now, there are some other indexes called cost of living, which is very important, right? I mean, I can have a lot of wealth, I have a lot of military power, but at the end of the game, what is the cost of living? India is number 1. So things are very cheap over there. US is 65, China is 29. The labor force, India is number 2, US is number 3, China is number 1. It's nothing, there is no rocket science in that because of the population. Because China is the largest population, so they are number 1, India is number 2, and US is number 3. So this is strictly based on the population. So which does make sense, but it is also considered that they have this kind of labor force. There is another index called National Power Index. In fact, they did exactly same thing that what I am trying to do. The only big difference is they consider only 3 criteria, whereas I am considering 50 criteria. So I am considering everything: pollution, debt rate, poverty, and so many things. And this is the thing I found. They call National Power Index. And they consider only 4 criteria: GDP, defense, technology, and population. And based on those 4 criteria, they came up with this ranking system. And in that, India is number 3, and US is number 1. Obviously, China is number 2. So this is the ranking from someone else done, and in my ranking, I will give at the end of my presentation. Another strength India has 65% population under age of 35 years. Right? India has 1.2 billion people, and out of 1.2 billion people, 65% people are under 35 years of age, which is kind of a big plus, or is a big potential for India. If they use it in right way, it's a big potential, and India really a very young country on that regard. Now, if you notice, until now, I considered 3 countries, right? I was doing comparison with US and China, but in fact, I am really comparing all 230 countries in all the real analysis. But when I talk, I choose these 3 countries for the comparison purpose because they are the large countries with a large population, and obviously they are doing very good in current days. And another important thing is, since these are large countries, the data that I am getting are more reliable and more dependable. Right? If I consider some small countries, some of the data may not be that reliable. So at least in my presentation part, I'm comparing these 3 countries just when I speak. But in my real ranking system, I consider all those 230 countries. Okay, now let's talk about space program. That is something program. There are only 6 countries having successful mission to moon program. India is one of them. Not even China. Oh, sorry, no, China is there. And by the way, India discovered water on the moon. Mission to Mars. There are only 4 countries in this world having successful mission to Mars program. US, Russia, European Union, and 4th one is India. And India is the first country having successful Mars mission at very first attempt, which is very significant. All those other 3 countries had a successful Mars mission, but not at the very first attempt. India has the successful attempt at the very first attempt. India's cost for Mars mission is 1/4, just 25% of US Mars program. In fact, it is even cheaper than the Gravity movie. So India's Mars mission, the real Mars mission, it took 9 months to reach to the Mars, right? It's a very significant space program. And it is cheaper than the Gravity movie. If you travel in India by rickshaw, it costs 10 rupees per kilometer. But do you know how much it costs to the Mars mission? Only 7 rupees. This is all because of their advanced technology or something good and something to be proud of. Mission to Pluto, India has not there, but I'm really amazed by the successful mission to Pluto. The US, right? US made it happen. It took 9 years, 9.5 years to reach to the Pluto. 9.5 years. It is 3 billion miles from Earth. So at the speed of maybe 41,000 miles per hour speed, it took 9.5 years to reach to the Pluto. And the satellite is sending images from there. It takes 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours to come that image from Pluto to over here. So as a telecom engineer, I think we should appreciate that 2 billion miles away, they are sending images and it takes 4.5 hours to reach to the Earth. So this is really achievement for all the engineers. And sometimes I think the advancement in technological field in past 50 years is probably more than the past 10,000 years. And personally, I think if some other field has this kind of advancement, probably this world would have been like a heaven. Even I think if the medical field had done this kind of advancement, probably we would have lived about 10,000 years very easily. I'm just giving the perspective how the technology has advanced in past 50 years. There is another index called Best for Investors, and in 2015, India came out to be a number 1. It used to be number 6 in 2014, but in this year, India is number 1. So for the foreigner investors, India is considered to be the number 1 country. US is number 50, China is 65. I know, and that's what I told people will surprise. India has the fastest missile in this world, called BrahMos. India has the fastest missile in this world so far. Its speed is 3 Mach. You know, Mach is 760. Mach is the speed of a sound, which is 761 miles per hour. So 3 Mach means 761 times 3, which is 2,283 miles per hour. So India has the fastest missile in the world. And recently I got some information, by the way, from Ajay. India is now all set to become a missile-proof country. So India will have a shield. The whole country will have a missile-proof shield. It is called KALI, Kiloampere Linear Injector. If enemy missile is launched in Indian direction, it will quickly emit powerful pulses of electron beams and destroy the target in no time. So India is about to be the missile-proof country. And if it happens, probably India will be the first country. India has one of the cheapest commercial satellite launching system. There are only 8 countries in this world having a satellite launching system. And India is the cheapest one and doing a business with other countries like Europe, South America, Canada, and so many other countries. So India actually launching their satellite and doing business with them. So India has the cheapest satellite launching system. Now, if you heard about Google's new CEO, right? Indian guy. So India is I would consider India is the biggest manufacturer and free exporters of world's CEO. Read some of the multinational companies having Indian origin CEO. So Google, Microsoft, Motorola, PepsiCo, Adobe System, Nokia, MasterCard, Unilever, Cognizant, Dutch Bank, Arcelor, Wipro, and I'm sure this is just one drop of the ocean. There are so many CEOs which I can't even list them. But these are the big and famous companies I just wanted to present here. So what does it mean? Only one country is having so many CEOs in this world. It means something, right? Probably it means our good education system, our value system, and something to be proud of. I'm sure CEO, their own characteristic, their hard work also playing a big role. But having so many CEOs in all these multinational companies, I think India deserves some credit for that. Now there are some other indexes where India is doing reasonably okay, not that great, but okay, like Happy Index. India is number 33, US is number 17, China is more than 85, because the list I found having only 85 countries, and China is not one of them. So I put China is somewhere around 85. So as far as happy index is concerned, India is 33, not too bad. US is 17, very good, and China is somewhere above 85. So for happy index perspective, India is doing much better than China. Satisfaction with life, which is very important, right? How many people are satisfied with their life? India ranks 125, which is kind of bad, but I'm saying it's not horrible. If you look at, there are 230 countries, right? Out of 230 countries, India ranks 125. It means there are 105 countries which are doing worse than India, right? That's my whole point is that there are certain areas where India is doing bad, but you have to see there are so many countries they are doing even so worse. So satisfaction with life, India is 125, US is 33, China 82. Life expectancy, India is 97, and US is 32, very good. China is 64. Life expectancy means the average age, right? 97 is kind of bad, but I don't consider it as horrible. There are 230 countries, so what about the 140 countries? Their life expectancy is much lower than India. Right? Murder rate, India is 88. So from the good end, country having the least murder rate is number one. Right? So number one is the least murder rate. India ranks 88. Not horrible, it is bad. On that range, US is 96. So from good end, US is 96, India is 88, China is 28. So China has much lower murder rate than India, but US has more murder rate than India. Good justice system, what other thing matters, right? If justice system is bad, then it can impact heavily. So justice system perspective, India is 59. So not too bad. US is 19, which is very, very good. So from justice system perspective, US is 19, India is 59, China is 71. So China is worse than Indian justice system. Hard to believe, but these are the numbers. I got it. Healthcare index, India is 48 from the good end. US is 38, China is 44, so I would say they are all kind of same. I mean, US is much better than others, but India and China 48 and 44. Freedom of speech, another important criteria to consider. How is the freedom of speech? India is 77, US is 24, and China is horrible, 179. I'm not surprised with that, right? So from the freedom of speech perspective, India is 77, not bad, US 24. Science and technology, India 56, US 26, China 54. Health and welfare, India 37, US is very good, number 7, China 17. So even from the health and welfare perspective, India is doing better than China, worse than US. Now when we talk about India, we cannot ignore the ancient India, right? There are a lot of good stuff in ancient India. And by the way, whenever we compare anything, we cannot just focus to the current. Sometimes we have to go into the past also to see what they were doing. So India used to be the richest country in 16th and 17th century, right? That's probably well known. And probably that was the reason why Columbus was attracted to find India, and eventually he ended up with America. India used to be 23% of world GDP before Britishers came to India. So as I said, 23% of world GDP. It means India was producing 23% of world's need before Britishers came, and it went down to 4% when they left. India used to be the biggest exporter in the world. 27% export was from India before Britishers came to India. And it went down to 2%, and India became the biggest importer of the world when Britishers left. India had 16% literacy rate when Britishers left. And right now it is 75%. So India's literacy rate has a significant improvement in past 68 years. From 16% to 75% in 68 years is kind of a big, significant improvement. And I would say it's a big accomplishment. So India has really bounced back in these 68 years, right? India had a great history before, and India had some bad time in between for a few hundred years, and now India is coming up. And if you Google, there are a lot of talks and a lot of YouTube videos where people are claiming that India would be the next superpower. Now, in ancient India, if you remember, India invented zero. India invented pi. Pi is the one used for all the geometry and advanced mathematics, right? So imagine advanced mathematics or even mathematics without pi and zero. So that was invented in India, pi, zero. India invented decimal system. India invented binary system. We know that computer works on binary system. So think about this world without this binary system. I can't imagine the world without this binary system. And I heard India invented plane in 1895. 7 years before Wright brothers invented in 1902. So this is what I am finding, that India invented plane in 1895 in Maharashtra. Jagdish Chandra Bose invented radio waves. We are in, again, telecom industry, and we know that radio waves are used communicating your cell phone, mobile phone to the tower. So again, imagine the world without these radio waves, right? Imagine the world without our cell phone or mobile phone. That was, at least the radio waves were invented in India by Jagdish Chandra Bose. So those are really a real gift from ancient India. Zero, pi, decimal system, binary system, plane and radio waves. They were really a good gift from India to the rest of the world. India invented chess, even yoga, Ayurveda, even plastic surgery, invented calculus and trigonometry. And I'm sure this list can go on and on and on. And I don't have time, and that's not the whole purpose of my talk. But there are a lot of inventions done in ancient India. So I already dumped so many data, and I am using about 50 different characteristics for 230 countries. So if you multiply by 50 by 230, it is 11,500 data. So it's a lot of data, and I'm not claiming that all those data are 100% accurate data. There is no way we can have 100% accurate data for anything, right? And most of the time we don't need 100% accurate data, right? If someone asking me that what is my height, if I say 5'6", it is around 5'6". I mean, I'm sorry, it is not 7 feet, it is not 3 feet. So it is again approximate, and at the same time it is not exactly 5 and 6. It can be few millimeters more, few millimeters down, right? But that's not the significance. So we always have to consider that all this data are not 100% accurate. Sometimes this data are little older version, whatever I get it. But for our purpose, I am trying to get like approximate ranking system. So at least for my purpose, it is good enough. I am not UN, I am not United Nations where I'm going to make some decision based on that ranking system, where I need probably a more accurate number. So which is not the purpose. So I am doing like approximate number, and which should be good enough for our purpose. Okay. Now so far I talked a lot about India's strength, but while we are doing this kind of comparison or ranking system, that's not good, right? We cannot just focus on the good side or strength. We always have to look at on the both sides, strength and the weaknesses. So what are the weaknesses? The first one is population density. So from the ranking perspective, India ranks 191 out of 230 countries. US 52, China 141. So the density, it means India, the smaller country by area and too many people. So the density is very high. So ranking 191, again, it is not the last one. There are 230 countries. It means there are 40 countries which has higher population density than India. US is 52, so it's a wider country, big country, and the smaller population is US is 3 times bigger than India, 3 times bigger, and the 3 times smaller population. So China is 141, bigger country with more people. So that was the ranking. Now, in terms of the number of people, India has 376 people living per square kilometer. 376 people. US has only 35 people living in per square kilometer. China has 141 people living in per square kilometer. Now, just to give you perspective again, there is a country called Macau. It has 20,800 people living in 1 square kilometer. So 1 square kilometer is probably smaller than our campus, and 20,000 people living in that area. So again, I'm just doing comparison. I'm not feeling, I don't want to put any country down or anything, just doing a fair comparison to understand where India stands in compared to other countries. Per capita GDP, which is very important. I brag a lot about the GDP. Remember, I say GDP is 7%. We rank 7, but GDP does not mean, it means a lot, but it's not the only thing to be considered. The more important thing is the per capita GDP. It means the individual person's GDP. It means the individual person's income. That is probably the more important, where India falls behind. And that is a big problem. So India ranks 125. I'm saying it is bad, but again, I'm saying it is not horrible. There are 230 countries. So what about other countries? So there are 105 countries which has per capita GDP much lower than India. US is number 10. So per capita GDP much better in US. China 89. So what does it mean? From the GDP perspective, we are number 7, but for the per capita GDP, we are 125. It clearly indicates that the wealth is not evenly distributed. Number means that wealth is not evenly distributed. There are so many people having so much wealth. There are a lot of billionaires, but at the same time, there are so many poor people in India. And that is why when we average out, India falls down to 125. Again, there are 230 countries, so there are so many countries which has even worse per capita GDP than India. So these two numbers, GDP and per capita GDP, are kind of contradiction. One place we are number on the top side, and on the other side we are like in between. Another important point is below poverty line. India ranks 94. The poverty line, every country has their own poverty line, and from the ranking perspective, India is number 94, US is 39, China is 33. So in India, there are 23% people below poverty line. Another India's weakness is its education system. From the literacy rate perspective, India ranks 144 out of 230 countries. US is number 5. China is 106. So India has 75% literacy rate. So 75% people in India are considered to be educated. I don't know the exact definition for being educated, but 75% are considered to be educated. US 99% and China has 95%. Corruption, again, very heavily criticized criteria for India, but in fact India ranks 86 from the good end. So there are only 85 countries which has lower corruption than India. So India number 86, US is 20, China 101. So it means China has more corruption than India, because India is 86, China is 101. Inflation, India ranks 105, US 47, China 53. Inflation rate in India 5%, US 2%, China 2.3%. As far as average salary is concerned, India ranks 69, US number 4, and China 57. So average salary in US is much higher than India. India 69, again, there are 230 countries, so 69 is not horrible, right? There are 180 more countries which has much lower salary than India. Average household income in India is $1,610. Average household yearly. So if you rank that average salary from the world's perspective, you will be surprised. It comes out to be on the top 21% richest. India average household income is $1,610 per year, and which is again puts that average salary into the top 21% richest people in the world. The average salary. Average household income in America is $55,200 per year, which brings that average salary to be on the 0.24%, the richest people on this earth. 0.24%. Average salary in China is $7,380, which is 13% richest list. So if we have the list for the whole, everybody, the 7 billion people in this world. So this is the ranking system. Indian average salary, the average person is still belongs to the 21% richest people in this world. By the way, yeah, I'm sure you know that the Indian American average salary in US, how much? Is $90,000. Average salary of, I think the Indian American has the highest salary in America or in the whole world. Indian American in America. We have 90,000 household income per year, and which brings us to be on 0.1%. I'm not talking about 1%. I'm talking 0.1%, the richest people on this earth. By the way, there is a very good site called globalrichlist.com. Go to that site, and only thing you have to put is put your salary, and it will tell you exactly where you as a personally belongs to on the world scale. You will be surprised. I'm sure most of us would come into 0.1% richest people on this earth. Try and tell me. Put your salary over there, globalrichlist.com, and your salary will put you the 0.1% richest people in this earth, on this earth. Okay, that was all about money. Now let's talk about some social thing where India is falling behind. Rape rate, heavily criticized for India, right? But from number perspective, from the highest rape. The country with highest rape is number 1. From that scale, India is 102. So it means there are 101 countries having higher rape rate than India. 101 countries. On that scale, US and UK are number 17 from the highest rape rate. US and UK is 17, India is much below, much below 102, China is 99. So it means, okay, India has 18 rapes per million population. Per million means per 10 lakh people per year. 18 rapes per million population per year. US has 274 rapes per million population per year. China has 18. So it means UK and US has 15 times, about 1500% higher rape rate than India. Just to give you perspective, if you consider the South Africa, the rape rate, 1300 rapes per million people per year, which is equivalent to 7,500% higher rape rate than India. Okay, so US, UK has 15 times, 1500% more rape rate than India, and China and India is pretty much same. So in the beginning, I talked about that blog, and I did not tell you that what was that blog was all about. So that lady, when I talked about that blog, that lady was concerned about, there was an incident in Delhi about a rape, and that lady came to know about that rape and suddenly changed her mind that now onwards I am not going to send my daughter to India during her entire life. And I responded her back that, hey, please just go and do a Google search and you will know where India belongs to compared to the rest of the world. Certain things, they are not good, but it's happening all over the world, right? So you have to do some perspective. On that regard, if CS is really concerned about the rape rate in India, India has much lower rape rate than any other Western country. But the problem was she was very ignorant. So that was the point I made in the beginning of my talk. Let's talk about political stability. India ranks 174, which is kind of known. Probably for this thing, I think I consider this number is kind of old, because I would see at least for past 5 or 10 years the Indian political system is kind of stable, not unstable, right? At least 20 years ago, you know there were a new government every few years, but now at least the political system is stable. But this number, I got it, but so I still trust this number, and from that ranking system, India falls behind 174. US political stability number is 68, China is 140, kind of same as 174. Now, for our bad political system, I would consider that some of us are also responsible. I truly believe that bad politicians are created by good people who do not participate or stay away from the political process. That is my personal quote. That we are partially giving them a room. Our society, at least for past 50 years, there is not much encouragement for their kids or anybody to go into politics and do something for the country. And the thing is, they have a lot of power. I mean, we can be engineer, doctor, but we have very limited power. We can't do much. But if someone really wants to do something for the country, the best place to be is the politics. If you go in politics and if you capture some good position, you can do a bigger difference. I know it's not that easy because the system has corrupted now. And why is it corrupted? Because the good people are always staying away. People don't even vote, right? Don't take any interest, nothing. And even our society does not encourage for the politics. And possibly that is the reason. So we create a big opening, big hole for those bad people who really don't deserve to be in politics, and they go there and you see what kind of politics we have. So that is one of the weakness I would consider. Another weakness is a brain drain, right? We have a lot of educated people. I would consider India is the biggest manufacturer and exporter of CEOs, engineers, doctors, scientists, economists, right? India produces them for free. India paying for their education. And then what does it do? Finally it exports for free. So India is the biggest manufacturing company for CEOs, engineers, engineers like us, doctors. So India produces for free, India pays for their education, and then exports for free. When they live for free. And they help other countries. Another thing I consider like weakness is unequal distributions of intelligence. If you say, at least for last 30, 40 years, there's a lot of emphasis. All educated, all intelligent students, all educated people, they want to do either doctor or engineer, right? So there is kind of one-way flow. All the intelligent students, all the intelligent people either become doctor, engineer, or something of that regard. So it means it creates a big imbalance in the society. All educated people, all intelligent people goes on one end. So what about the other area? Finance, politics, right? So all the intelligent people in one way, and the rest of the areas where we don't have that pool of intelligent people. So that's kind of creates imbalance of the intelligence. We are number one in black money outside of India. We have $1.4 trillion outside of India, which is equivalent to India can build a simple house for the 1/4 population. For the 1/4 family, with that kind of money, India can build a simple house for the 1/4 population. It means if that money comes in India, theoretically there should not be any poverty or homeless people. So that kind of money over there, which is equivalent to 2.5 lakhs rupees per family. So $1.8 trillion, if you divide by the number of family, it comes out to 2.5 lakhs rupees per family. Quite high number. Another weakness, pollution. From the ranking perspective, India is 107. Again, it is bad, but it is not horrible. There are 230 countries. It means there are 120 more countries which are more polluted than India. Right? US is 17, so it means US is much cleaner than India. We know there is no rocket science for that. China is 126. So from this number perspective, China is more polluted than India. China is 126, India is 107. From the infrastructure perspective, India is 91, US 23, China 72. So until now, you must have noticed that India has never been on the extreme end. Either it is on the top 30, 40, or in middle somewhere. And I have considered so many of those criteria. Another important, the weakness I would consider is a caste system in India, right? Caste, it's kind of a cancer of the society. There are so many people, because of that caste system, there are so many people growing up with that inferiority complex, right? They are always saying, you are inferior, which is not good. So many, maybe high percentage of people are growing up with that kind of mindset, inferiority complex, which is very bad for them, for the society, and for the country. And in this global world, the global this high-tech world, I think caste system should not have any place in India or anywhere in the world. Okay, so far I consider all these good stuff, strength and weaknesses, those important criteria. Now my main emphasis, the whole emphasis is to come up with the ranking system to see where India belongs to on the world stage. And for that, I have considered, as I said, 50 different criteria. For all those 230 countries, all this ranking system I blended to put together in my Excel spreadsheet, do some kind of my algorithm and came up with the ranking system. So it's a lot of analysis, a lot of analytical work. So let me tell you which 50 criteria I have considered. So far I highlighted only few of those, which are kind of very important ones. Those are the ones I went into more detail. But in fact, these are the 50 criteria I have considered in my analysis. The first one is mission to Mars, where India ranks 4. Mission to Moon, India ranks 4. Nuclear weapons, where India ranks 7. GDP, where India ranks 7. Per capita GDP, India is horribly bad, not horribly, very bad, 125. PPP, India is number 3. Net wealth, India number 12. Military power, India 4. Death per wealth, India is number 5. Poverty line 94, corruption 86, justice system 59, education very bad 144. Crime rate 75, healthcare index 48, pollution 107, population density very bad 191. Literacy rate very bad 144, health and welfare 37, cost of living 1, total wealth number 7, total debt 172. So India has a high debt. I mean, this is the dollar amount, because bigger the country, they have all the numbers are huge. There are so many small countries which the amount are small. So India ranking 172, which is kind of very high. Rape rate 22. Let me explain. 22 from the good end. It means there are only 21 countries which has a lower rape rate than India. But at the same time, there are 200 countries which has much higher rape rate than India. I am emphasizing too much because there were a lot of criticism for that. I really don't, I truly consider even one rape is very bad. But after all, we have to see the perspective, we have to see the whole world, on the whole world perspective. And on that regard, from that ranking system, there are only 21 countries which has a lower rape rate than India, but 120 countries which has much higher rape rate than India. Happy index 33, life expectancy 97, satisfaction with life 125. I have considered even suicide rate. Suicide rate, India is 66. Terrorism index 119, which is it shows more terrorism activity in India. So 119. Again, 230 countries. National capability 3. Social progress index 101. Basic human need 76. Murder rate 88. Unemployment rate 98. Property price per income. Property price versus income ratio 36. Human development index 135. Freedom of speech 77. Freedom 4. Infrastructure 91. Patents. The number of patents 22. It means there are only 21 countries which has more patents than India. India is number 22 out of 230 countries. Labor force, India number 2. Inflation rate 105. Science and technology 56. Culture 53. Peace and security 44. World order 91. Planet and climate 107. So after considering all these 50 criteria for 230 countries, based on my Excel algorithm and everything, these are the list of countries I came up, top 10. Okay? Now as I say, my numbers are not 100% accurate. So when I give this ranking system, I am not going to tell that this 1 to 5 means exactly this country is 1 to, they are approximate. Pretty much in that criteria. So for 1 to 5, so I'm not saying that this is the number 1 country, this is the number 2, but 1 to 5, US is in the top 1 to 5 rank, Germany, Japan, France, UK. So these are the 5 countries, as per my calculation, comes out to be in top 5 for all these 50 criteria. US, Germany, Japan, France, UK. So out of this 5, I'm not saying that US is number 1 at least in this criteria, this thing. But they are in top 5. So definitely they are not in about 10, that is for the sure. So at least they are in 1 to 5. Now from 6 to 10, Italy, China, Brazil, Mexico, Turkey and India. They are in top 6 to 10. So if you see the top 10 list, US, Germany, Japan, France, UK, Italy, China, Brazil, Mexico, Turkey and India, they are in top 10 list. If I consider all those 50 criteria and do the analysis for all these 230 countries, these 10 countries shows up as in the top 10 list. Now, one thing in this list, I have excluded some of the very small countries, some tiny countries. Because it doesn't make sense to compare this tiny countries with very low population, everything very low, that number doesn't mean much. And it skews. So, but again, for sake of argument, I am considering them also. So it's up to you guys how to interpret. So if we consider all those countries together, even the smallest country with very few people living in there, they have everything good. So in that regard, India still comes out to be 41st. So India is 41 when you include all the countries, all the small countries with small population and everything. So if we just consider, if you exclude them, India is in top 10. If you include them, India is 41. Now, I consider all the 50 characteristics. But in most of the time, we don't need all the 50 characters, right? As I gave one example, let's say you have a student. There are 2 kinds of ranking. In one ranking, you will do all the composite ranking, where they will consider all the subjects, all the extra curriculum, everything, and say, okay, these are the ranking system based on 10 different subjects. Even they will consider how you are good in cricket, volleyball, everything, right? That's one ranking system. But when the student goes for education, for admission in engineering, they would not look at all the other criteria. They would say, okay, we just want to focus on certain subjects like mathematics, science, trigonometry, those kind of things. And they will go with that ranking system, right? So even though I have that 50 criteria, some of them may not be that important. So what I did, I narrowed down to 20 important characteristics. That okay, these are the 20 characteristics which really mean. Some of the 50 may not mean much when you do comparison. So I made another list for 20 criteria, and I picked, these are the 20 criteria I picked. Mission to Mars, mission to Moon, nuclear weapons, GDP, per capita GDP, where India is very bad and it plays a negative role for India, but I consider per capita GDP, PPP, net wealth, military power, debt per wealth, poverty line, corruption, justice system, crime, healthcare index, pollution, population density where India is horrible, 191, literacy rate where India is bad, health and welfare, 37, cost of living. So I included so many negative points, negative criteria for India and the positive. And if I blend all together, I mean this 20 criteria for this country, this is the list I came up. The US is number 1 now. In my average, this number system, US stands out to be number 1 very clearly. There is no doubt. The second number is way behind. So now I get, in my previous list when I had a 50 characteristic, US was not clearly number 1. So that's why I say US is one of the 5 top. But in this case, when I narrow down to only 20 important criteria, US is number 1 very clearly. And between for 2 to 5, the Japan, France, Germany and UK, they are in 2 to 5 list. So US is number 1, Japan, France, Germany, UK is in 2 to 5. Russia, Italy, China, India, Turkey, Brazil, they are in 6 to 10. So again, India made into this 20 important criteria. Basically, this top 10 list is pretty much same as for the 50. There is only one difference in this 20 characteristic. Russia, which was left out in my previous list, is over here right now. So let me repeat again. For 20 important characteristics, US, Japan, France, Germany, UK, Russia, Italy, China, India, Turkey, Brazil, they are in top 10. Again, over here, I again excluded some of those countries with lower population and tiny countries, smaller countries. If I include them, so in fact, I am giving you 4 different options. One with 50 characteristics, where I am excluding some of those small countries, and I am giving another ranking system where I included. So same thing for 20 characteristics, when we focus only on the bigger countries, and then in that 10 list, India is in 10 list. But if I include those countries with a smaller population, then India comes to be 22nd. Not bad. I mean, this is really a significant for 50 characteristics, and in number 10, even for the 20 important characteristics. Now, I just remember one thing about our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Someone asked him that is India full of people with snake bean, Madari? So someone outsider asked that is India full of people with snake bean, Madaris? Narendra Modi said, no, we used to be, but now we are demoted. And now India is full of people with mouses and controlling the world. I hope you got it. Computer mouse. So he said we are demoted. We are no longer using snake bean, but now our people are using mouses and controlling the world. Okay, so India came out to be number top 10 list. What it means? Top 10 out of 230 countries, it really means top 5%. Right? So India is in top 5% list, top list of the world. So let's say if we have our son or daughter staying in top 5% crowd, how would you feel? We'll feel very proud, right? Staying in top 5% of crowd is really something to be proud of. And in fact, how many of us can stay in top 5% crowd of anything? Right? If we cannot maintain on our individual level, India being one of the biggest country with the most 1.2 billion people, if India can stay on top 5% of the crowd of the world, it is really something significant and something to be proud of. And those people who non-stop criticize India, always talk about negativism, they should think little carefully about this. Of course, there are enormous challenges, but however, looking at India's glorious history, current progress and intellectual people, I see a very bright future for India. So be proud of your motherland and also the country where you are living right now. Try to pay back for what your motherland has done for you. Thank you for listening.